Welcome to our webinar on Ananda Yoga Teacher Training, which is happening for the first time here in Dallas in just a little over a week. We're here to share with you a little bit more about that and to give you a little bit of experiential with it. And I'm Maitri Smith-Heisler. This is Eric Shaw. We're going to be the lead teachers, but there's a whole bunch of people that will be taking you through this yoga teacher training.
But mainly us.
Yeah, mainly us. So we welcome you here this evening, and we're excited to, like I said, share with you and get your questions. We want to tell you a little bit more about the training. First of all, if you've been practicing yoga, you know how it's a transformational practice, and we're going to take you even deeper into that with Ananda Yoga, because it's something that we call it the inner workout instead of just using the postures from a physical point of view.
Yeah, so there's lots of kinds of yoga teacher trainings you can take out there. You can take them out. They're all over the map, and so each training kind of distinguishes itself in its own way. So the way in which our training is unique, besides the fact that Maitri and I have an immense amount of experience, we have about 60 years of experience between us together, is that this comes from a practice deeply rooted in a lineage tradition, the tradition of Paramahansa Yogananda, who came to America in 1920 and taught for the rest of his life till he was here till he left his body in 1951. So unlike a lot of practices that kind of dodge the spiritual heritage of yoga and how it was rooted in the ancient traditions of India and how it, carried through in a single line, we honor that. We teach that. We're excited about that. We want to offer that to you. So there's a very sophisticated and complex and rich spiritual element to our training, which I dare say you won't find anywhere. I mean, you won't find anywhere in Dallas, right, but you'd probably have to travel somewhere else to get it. And we feel confident and excited about offering it to you. And we think that if this is the kind of training you want, we're going to give it to you in a way that you'll really love learning and deepening your own spiritual response, body, mind, spirit. You'll get the mind and the spirit, mind and body, but you also get the strong spirit element from us.
Right. And, it's what also this allows is, some people may call it a gentler type of yoga. But in that sense, it also allows more accessibility. Doesn't matter whether you're, tight or whether you're flexible and lift. I mean, it's all good here. We can take you through it, and because it's not just about the physical aspects of it. It's, as I was saying, it's a type of yoga that addresses not only the physical, but heart and mind and soul.
Yeah, and so the system is set up for that. It's not like Ashtanga yoga or power yoga or even Bikram yoga. It's not some really aggressive yoga. I mean, you're going to develop your body strongly because we'll practice every time we practice for an hour. So you get a lot of yoga in. But the main thing is that it's an accessible yoga, it's a gentle yoga, and it works the body for spiritual and transformational awareness aims.
We like to think of it as like a moving meditation. And also very much a unique aspect of it is addressing the mind. We use affirmations. Yeah. And at the end of our webinar here, we'll go through one of those affirmations that are part of the yoga postures that we do. But breath awareness, pranayama, we're looking at it more from trying to get you to tune into the energy. And so along those lines, we're also going to share with you a specific series of exercises that Yogananda brought. They are unique too. The energization exercises, that's a part of it too. Meditation is a part of this training. And you have a really deep understanding the philosophical underpinnings of yoga through Raja Yoga, an embedded course in our yoga teacher training. And plus, we are really lucky that this first time around, we have some really special teachers that will also be coming in to augment the training. We have Nayaswami Asha, who is one of our senior teachers from California, and she's going to be coming in May. We have Jatindra and Sagar from Ananda Village that'll be coming I think it's the second Saturday after we start our training. They will be sharing in the Raja Yoga. We have Nayaswami Jaya, who is the co-leader of Ananda India. We have a whole bunch of international teachers. And finally,
you get a whole stack of swamis.
Yeah. And we have the director of Ananda Yoga coming at the very end in November to do a master class too. Not sure if this is going to happen the next time around, but it's happening for this first time to help get us off the ground here. We are part of the training we're doing here is a curriculum that has been used for quite some time in California successfully, over 25 years. It was initially created by Swami Kriyananda. It was his attunement to Yogananda's teaching to create this yoga for higher awareness.
Yeah, so just to kind of frame this tradition in that way, Yogananda was the primary leader of this tradition. And as I said, he came here in 1920. Kriyananda was a primary disciple of his, and he had his own interpretation of Yogananda's teaching. And he started Ananda, and he was actually a very powerful hatha yogi. In early pictures of him, you'll see him like, I think that's on the screen now, you'll see his kind of athletic disposition. And he started to develop his voice and his message around Yogananda's teaching in the 1960s when hatha yoga was becoming very popular. So this has been a central part of our practice in teaching and offering for a long time, though it's unique here in Dallas for us to offer this for the first time because we haven't actually had a training here in Dallas. And one thing I just wanted to riff off of what Maitri said a little earlier about the philosophy. You'll get the philosophy in a very strong way in this teaching. It's something that I'm really excited to teach, and the visiting teachers are excited to teach, but it will be deeply woven into the fancy word for this in scholarly circles is praxis. It's practice and theory together. And we learn the theory deeply, and then we learn to apply the theory. And as Maitri said, it's all a science of life force, a science of energy, what the Chinese call qi, what we call prana in the Hindu tradition. And so as we source the philosophy, like as we go back to texts like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and it teaches us about the nature of prana and how to use prana, and teaches us how to use pranayama to leverage our prana, you're going to actually be doing those practices. I mean, we're going to be applying this stuff from the original Hatha Yoga tradition in the class because we understand that tradition. It's sourced into our tradition. So there's no break. It's not like we've made a whole new yoga that just belongs to America. This is a tradition that has definitely evolved in the current tradition in the American context, but it is sourced and brings forward all this deep understanding from the ancient tradition. And we hope that the people who are coming here will get excited about the part. We're excited about that part of it.
Yeah. So I'm just curious if of those that are out there right now, if there's any questions, I believe you can type them in. Is that correct, man behind the camera? Feel free to ask us any questions. We're hoping to have this be a little interactive. I think are there any questions yet, Mark?
No, if they go to the chat, which is
Okay.
down in the lower right-hand corner, they should be able to see where they can enter in their chat.
All right.
There.
So along those lines, there's a couple things. I'm gonna throw a question out to you, and you can answer it for me.
You will be our stand-in for our studio audience.
Yeah. So can you tell me just a little bit more about how long and how the classes are structured, and a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So we'll start on our first weekend. Of course, we'll do strong introductions. We'll teach you about the manual. We have a strong manual that we work our way through. We'll start with practice. So every time we do a meeting, we'll do a strong hour of practice. So not only you will be feeling this in your body, but we will be modeling for you how instruction in the Ananda tradition goes forward. And then well, so many things we'll do. We have 200 hours, so we'll cover a lot of
Yeah.
ground. But one of the things that you'll be learning in our system is you'll start out with one-on-one teaching, you'll pair off, you'll get an opportunity to teach a single asana. Eventually, we'll evolve you into teaching full classes. So even if you're coming in just to learn the practice deeply, and you're not necessarily interested in going into the professional wing of learning to be a teacher, you're still going to kind of get the system into your body more fully by having to articulate it for others, by trying to teach it for others. So whether you want to become a teacher or not, this is really good for the evolution of your practice. So we'll have practice teachings, we'll break down the asanas and teach alignment with them. We'll have deep sessions on yoga philosophy and history. We'll do a strong kind of fun introduction process in the beginning, so we're interpersonally connected. And just as a side note on that, we're just kind of riffing willy-nilly here. Part of the lovely thing about being in a TT, and how many TTs have you done, Maitri?
How many have I taken?
Yeah.
I've gone through, of course, the Ananda yoga training,
Yeah.
at least 2 other ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've done 2 TTs myself. And one thing that's so wonderful about a TT is that you bond with
Oh,
the
yeah.
people. I mean, you're all going through this transformative process. So these people you can become deeply connected to them. Maybe they become your professional colleagues, but they definitely, it's sort of like going to summer camp. These are bonds that are very powerful because you're all being opened up at the same time and going through the same process. So that starts on the first day when we come and we connect and we do these learning, about each other practices.
Right.
And you'll get to know us too.
So we're going to be meeting, we set up the training to start in March on the second, actually the third, no, it's the second weekend of the month. Yeah. It's the second weekend of every month except April because of Easter, that we will come together Thursday through Sunday, Thursday night, Friday night, all day Saturday, and half day Sunday. And that goes March, April, May. Then we have the break of June and July.
You
And
get
then
your summer.
come back, come back in August, September, October, and we end before Thanksgiving in November. And that's our basic schedule. There's a few extra Saturdays in there. One question might be, what if I can't make all those classes? You can miss a couple classes without penalty.
Having to make them up. Yeah.
And so we think it's a doable schedule. When we were creating this, we were thinking of ourselves too.
Yeah, you can keep your 9-to-5 job and still make all the classes on the TT.
But this will really, as Eric was saying, even if you're like, I'm not sure I want to teach, it will definitely give you the confidence and all the tools to do that. But at the same time, if you're serious about yoga or you're just really feeling the joy of yoga and you want to go deeper, this is the perfect way to go deeper.
Yeah, and I would say probably in America, the most or worldwide in the modern yoga scene now, more people do the TTs just to increase their learning. I mean, I've taught in many, many TTs, and all the people who show up, they're definitely not looking to launch a professional career. It's just become kind of the natural, it's sort of like a BA. It's sort of like the natural next step in your yoga learning to do a 200 hours. So, we will prepare you professionally if that's your aim. But if you don't want to take that track, just the work you do to prepare to be a professional will deepen your understanding of yoga profoundly. And it's kind of that next step that so many of us do now, that Yoga Alliance launched in the year 2000, and now we kind of follow this program.
Exactly. So along those lines, any more questions?
Well, you had already addressed it a little bit, but Kavita asks, what happens if we miss a class due to health or family emergencies? How do we make up?
So, like we said, you can miss a couple classes. Outside of that, then we would
do a one-on-one session with one of the teachers to make it up. And if there's several people that miss, then there might be a small group.
Yeah,
if
it would have an additional charge for that, but we can work with that. So, and speaking of cost, if you do sign up,
and the early bird price is
$24.99.
Correcto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$24.99.
Yeah.
and you can come experience it if you want to do that first. On Tuesday night, there's a yoga class that starts at 6:20. It's Ananda Yoga, and it goes for an hour, and it's followed with a meditation. And that is also part of what we'll be offering in this is if you don't have a meditation practice, you'll have one by the end of this too, because we will be teaching you the techniques of Yogananda for meditation as well.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's so many people out there who are struggling to learn mindfulness. I mean, the modern age speeds up our mind so much, and social media speeds up our mind, and people feel stressed, and they're really seeking mindfulness practice, often exclusively, I mean, in exclusive meditation context. But that's another perk that you'll get from this practice, because both Maitri and I are huge meditators. We really understand the value of meditation, and we make it quite central as an outcome to the Hatha Yoga practice. So it's not just an add-on, it's very central to what we offer. And the value, I think, also of this training is that you're going to get, you know, today we call it mindfulness practice, mindfulness meditation, same thing, a deep awareness of how to manage your awareness and to manage your mind through the meditation practices that we do.
Right. In fact, you get that even in the first weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll have you up and meditating right away.
Yeah. So there's many aspects to this that, you know, we're going to be sharing with you that are, I would say, unique. Another aspect of it is part of our tradition is that we do chanting, and you'll get aspects of that in the training as well. We'll probably experience that each time. We'll start with a little chant, and that's a whole nother way of, and it's becoming more popular too. I mean, you'll see even people, we don't do this necessarily, but people that are now doing classes where they're chanting throughout the classes and doing asana at the same time. We'll give you a taste.
Playing
of
rock and roll music.
Yeah. So, and
that's also, you know, deeply part of the tradition. We
Right.
understand that there's a whole tradition of bhakti yoga, of the soulful yoga that comes through the practice of song. So we'll do a lot of sessions where we go deep into exploring our resonance. I mean, I had a practice where I chanted at 5:30 in the morning for like 5 years, and it really opened up my heart. There's a connection between the voice and the heart, which is very profound, and you'll get into that area in the work we do.
And some people may ask, okay, well, I'd like to go deeper. I have a real specific focus that maybe I want to take this yoga into. So, for instance, like myself, I actually teach at a hospital, and I also teach in the corporate world. Does this yoga work in those situations? And I can say, yes, it does. I mean, this is, I think, a great yoga to also help, as Eric was saying, with stress reduction. It's geared toward that because it is so geared inwardly and working with meditation, which is a stress relief tool in itself. And your practice becomes more meditative with this particular style of yoga. And it really does work well to take it into some of the specialty areas. Although we're not teaching it that way, we will address how you can take it into that and how you can use it some with kids even.
These days, so many yoga teachers find their niche. They find the kind of niche population they want to work with. You know, it might be kids, it might be older people, it might be people with disabilities, it might be people in the inner city, or whatever kind of service you're drawn to. But the 200-hour YTT training, Yoga Alliance certified training, is kind of the base level. It's kind of the first order. But again, it's the comparison is like the bachelor's degree. It opens a door to those other more selective practices. You want to do prenatal yoga. There's all kinds of yoga. You can start to do the specific trainings launched off from what you learn.
But we will definitely touch on those and give you some tools to start taking you down that road.
Or give you a taste to that. So if you might find that that's what you're excited about.
Any questions there, Mark?
Oh, we do have a question. Yeah.
I do have a question. This is Alma.
Hi, Alma.
Hey, Alma.
Hello. Sorry, I don't know if y'all could hear me. So I was looking on the schedule for the classes, and I didn't see a specific time for the Fridays. Is that like Thursday?
A specific time for the Fridays?
Yeah. Is it going to be like Thursday, 6 to 9?
It's going to be the same as Thursday, 6 to 9.
Okay.
So
Okay, that was
Thursday,
all.
6 to 9, Friday,
Mhm.
6 to 9, Saturday is 10 to 6, and Sunday, there was a little mistake, I know, on the website there. We were just discussing that. It's 1:30 to 5:30 on Sundays. I think it said
Okay.
1:30 to 5.
Did you have a follow-up
Okay.
question, Alma?
Right. So far, that's the only question I had.
You
Yeah.
don't want to challenge us with something really deep?
I don't know. I'm trying to think, but I think we've talked about this a few times already. So I think
Yeah.
I'm just
But now
just
we're on
like-
the stage.
I'm sure I'll have a million questions when I'm there.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm that when we're all together, there'll be lots of questions, I'm sure. We're glad that you're going to be joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited.
We're opening up the floor. Ask us questions. Keep us on our toes. I know one that I'm going to just put out there and then see while you guys are all thinking. So we say that it's spiritual. This is spiritual yoga. What does that mean if I already feel like, well, I have a spiritual home or attend a different church? I mean, is this gonna conflict with that, or?
Is it a heathen practice? I guess I would say, and we even find this in the old text, which is really wonderful, that yoga, and I know I'm kind of entering maybe some new territory here. Yoga is a technology. It's a way of, it's sort of like athletics, right? Athletics transform your body. Yoga is a total system for transforming your total system so that you are more open, you are more aware, and those are the things that those are the gifts of spirituality. So all of these things that we do in religion, why do I chant? I chant to open my heart. Why do I sing a hymn? All these things that we do in religious practice are served by this practice, but it's not like you have to follow a certain guru or you have to be sectarian in a specific way. This is a system which you can use for your own religious understanding. It's a heart opening practice, and it's good to have the heart open if you're a Muslim or if you're a Christian or if you're a Buddhist. So yoga is a system. It's a system which allows you to be more self-aware and more outwardly aware, and that is broadly applicable.
Right. But I would say, though, and you had said this earlier, that one of the things that's special about this style of yoga is it doesn't shy away from being spiritual.
Yeah.
And so you will hear the word God, you
will hear the word God.
Yeah. And in that way, if you are aligned with, another spiritual organization, a church or a temple, it actually really lends itself well to that environment, I think, because, the devotional elements of it.
Yeah, because we're not shying away from that.
Right, exactly. The flip side of that is if you're atheist, I still think you can be comfortable with it, but you might not like the word
you might not.
God.
You might not. It might not work.
So.
Do we have any other questions?
We do.
Mark?
We have a question from Anna, and she asks, are the materials included in the cost of the course?
Yes, they are. They are included in the cost of the course. I meant to have my little manual here as a prop.
We will have a book list, though, will we not?
So there'll be recommended books, but you'll get the manual, and that's included in the price.
Ton of data in the manual.
I'm trying to think. You definitely will need a mat. Things that are other requirements, you're going to need a mat.
You'll need a body.
You'll need to
bring your body.
But we have the props and things that any kind of props that you might need. We put a slide together that shows our first weekend. take a look at that and see if that brings up any questions.
Kind of a quick and dirty slide, but it gives you a kind of a rundown on how we'll move through that first weekend. Introductions, talking about the text, introductions among each other. We'll do a practice, and then we'll outline the course for that weekend and for the course going forward.
Now, the other thing that you might be asking is how much experience of doing yoga must I have? Is there any prerequisite for experience to take the course? And I don't know if you want to answer that or you want me to answer that.
Yeah, so we're pretty light on that. We're going to develop your experience in yoga. We'd like you to have been practicing for a year, you know, and that can be in studios. We will encourage you, of course, to develop your own home practice so that you're practicing some hatha yoga every day, some physical yoga every day. But that's our line in the sand. We would like you to have been practicing yoga for a year before coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that you have a little bit of a foundation
Yeah.
to go with.
Yeah.
So. No more questions. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we need to cover here.
Location, you'll be here in Addison at the Ananda Center. We've got a big practice room they're actually sitting in now, which doubles as a sanctuary. Sometimes we'll be in the classroom in the back. So that's the geographical.
4901 Keller Springs Road,
Yeah.
just off the toll road, just a couple blocks west on the Keller Springs, off of the toll road. It's very easy access. We get people that come here from all over the Metroplex. I'm always amazed at how people are willing to drive as far as they do sometimes.
People flying in from New York. It's crazy.
But yeah, I guess if there aren't any more questions, I don't think that there's anything more that I was feeling to share. We could end with
A short chant.
We could do a short chant and we could do a little affirmation.
Okay. Yeah, maybe give folks, that's one of the unique aspects of Ananda Yoga. As there's some other things too, but that's one of the key things is that when we do a pose, we focus the mind on kind of an aphorism or a statement that helps us to, you know, get greater insight into what we're experiencing. So what is a sample affirmation, Maitri?
Well, the one that we're going to do tonight is I relax from all outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. I relax from all outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. And that goes along with child's pose, balasana. So we can end with that. We can would you like to do a little chant first?
Yeah, let's do a short chant.
I'm going to move for just a minute while that slide is up there.
Maitri's going to arm herself with her harmonium.
Words are very simple to this chant. You can listen, but also, if you don't want to sing along at home, mentally repeat this. I am Om. I am Om, omnipresent. I am Om, all-pervading. I am Om. Om, Om, come to me. Come to me, oh, come to me. Om being the sound of creation, the vibration of creation. And we'll talk more about that in class too, but a very powerful vibration word, Sanskrit word, Om. And we're going to chant this now. this just in closing. Let's just take a moment to close our eyes. And we're going to do what we call a double breath. This is something that you'll learn in the class as well. It's part of the energization exercise. It's a double breath through the nostrils and exhaling through the mouth, double breath. And we're going to combine that with tensing, with all our will, inhaling and tensing. Let's do that now. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. Exhale. And then just taking a moment, letting your gaze float upward as if you're looking at a rising sun above a ridgetop. And with your gaze there, we'll just do our affirmation that goes with child's pose. You don't have to get into child's pose though. I relax from all outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. I relax from all outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. And just let that resonate inside you, mentally repeating, I relax from all outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. We thank you all for coming today. We hope you will join us. Remember that if you have any questions that come to mind after this webinar, there is, you can contact us at mytree@anandadallas.org or visit our website for more information. Thank you all. We appreciate you hanging out with us for this little while in our inaugural webinar too. Have a wonderful evening.